Welcome to the Melanin Wellness Podcast, your go-to destination for all things health, beauty, and empowerment for people of color. Melanin Wellness Podcast is more than just a podcast. It's a celebration of diversity, resilience, and self-love. I believe that wellness should be accessible to everyone. And here, I aim to provide a platform where we can share knowledge, inspire positive change, and uplift our communities. I'm your host, Corinna Dunn, and this is the podcast for seekers of knowledge on wellness. I am thrilled to embark on this journey with you. And again, welcome to the Melanin Wellness Podcast. Hey. And I am so excited to be back with you all. There's been so much that has happened since our hiatus, and I'm going to share all of that with you, share that journey with you. But I wanted to hop in and introduce a new series that is going to be taking place on the podcast. So, for those of you that listened in the past, the way that we used to do the show, we would have interviews and I would interview some amazing people and they will come on and talk about amazing topics like finances and self-care and food disparities. I mean, we had some amazing guests on the show, right? And we probably will get back to that eventually. However, the way we're going to start it this time is we're going to do a mini series. And this mini series is going to be called Note to Self, Your Toolkit for Healing. And it actually coincides with a book that I just wrote called Note to Self, Lessons on Trauma and Thriving in the Aftermath. And it is going to be sharing with you a lot of the tools and strategies that I used on my own healing journey so that I could heal, right? And I think that it's important for people to know that everybody deserves to live a happy whole life, and you can heal if that's truly what you want to do. There are tools, there are resources, there are people out there who have gone through what you've been through and who are on the other side of that. And I am an example of that. Again, so much has happened and I can't wait to share all of that with you. But what I want to do today is I wanted to just introduce that series, tell you the purpose. The purpose is to help those who are ready to start their healing journey, who may prefer to have an audio experience, those who have purchased the book the book's in pre-sales right now. So, people are purchasing the book and they're excited and they're waiting to get their hands on the book. But once you get the book and you read the book and you realize, okay, all of this happened to her. She's been through all of these things and now she's on the other side of it. How can I start to address my own traumas? So this series is going to help those who would like to start their healing journey, or even if you're in your healing journey already and you're feeling a little stuck and you're not sure which way to go next, or you're feeling like you've hit a wall and you can't quite move forward. Hopefully this will help. So I'm going to share some of the topics that I'm going to cover in this 6-week series. And this 6-week series will be beginning next Wednesday. And the episodes will upload every Wednesday. And we will discuss each one of these topics in depth. I will go over, my own research, share my own experiences from the topics along with a few examples of, some people that I have come in contact with who have shared their stories with me. Of course, I won't be sharing any names, but I will be using those as examples to help further drive home the points that I'm trying to get through to you. So this was basically the first episode. This is the introduction. So let me share a few topics of what we're going to be talking about. So the first topic I'm going to be talking about is journaling for healing. So next week, we're going to be talking about the power of journaling, the importance of journaling, how I use journaling to be a platform, a place, a safe space for me to be able to get my feelings out about all of the things that I've been through. And again, when you read the book, you'll know and you'll find out I have been through so many traumas in my life. And nobody knows these things except for those that are closest to me. Nobody knows. And so you're going to be quite surprised when you read the book and you find out, wow, she's been through that. And it may look like something that you've also been through. So it may make it more relatable for you and say, okay, so this is how she navigated her way through this trauma. And, I didn't find journaling until I was in my 30s. However, it became such a source and such a valuable resource. I have all of the journals that I used throughout these years. It's been probably about 10, 15 years since I started journaling, and I have so many journals. They are all over the place. I'm trying to determine what I'm going to do with them, if I'm going to throw them out, if I'm going to burn them, what I'm going to do with them, because again, your journal is your special place and nobody else has the right to read that. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the journals. I guess I'll decide on that later down the line sometimes, but I have a tremendous amount of journals where I share my feelings and my deepest, most painful thoughts and my innermost angers and hurts and all of those things. And it really did help me. And so I'm going to go over how you too can use that as a resource in your healing journey. The next topic we're going to be talking about is movement as medicine. Exercise and movement is a huge part of healing. It is so therapeutic. Many of you who have been following me on social media know that one of the things that I use as therapy, basically physical therapy, is yoga. And that is because yoga and meditation both provide this release for me to help with my trauma. Like, I can't count how many times I've cried during yoga and during meditation sessions because it provides a release for me. In fact, there are plenty of yoga poses that you can do that provide emotional release. We tend to carry a lot of our emotions in our hips, and people don't know that. And we're going to talk about that in depth in that episode. Then we're going to move on and talk about navigating triggers. This was a huge one for me because there were things that would trigger me that I did not even know were triggers. And it was something that was subconscious in my mind. And then when these things would happen, I would have to sit back and think, okay, what just happened here? Because often it didn't make sense to me, the response that I would have in my, emotions and in my nervous system, and sometimes even a physical response. It would not make sense to me until I sat back and I was able to trace it back and make it make sense to myself. So we're going to talk about triggers. We're going to talk about what it is, how it happens, and how to navigate them when they do happen, and navigate them in a healthy way. Because there was a point in my life where, listen, I was not navigating them triggers healthy. I was what was called a rage monster, okay? And the way I was choosing to react to them triggers, that was not the move, okay? So we are going to talk about how I learned to navigate my triggers in a more healthy way that has been invaluable to me on my healing journey. Then we're going to talk about setting healthy boundaries. Y'all, as a former people pleaser, I can tell you that setting healthy boundaries was probably the most difficult part of my healing journey, because I always wanted to please everybody. I always wanted to make everybody happy. I never wanted anybody mad at me. And the more I tried to please, the less of the result that I desired that I got in return. And we often think, as people who have gone through traumas, we often think that the more we give or the more that we do to make others happy, eventually they will give us what we are desiring, which is their love and their support. And unfortunately, in most cases, that is not the case. It was not the case for me. And I eventually had to learn to set boundaries. And I'm going to tell you, some folks got mad. Shoot, my inner child got mad. But it was a necessary thing to do And that is when I truly saw my healing skyrocket. Like a whole new world opened up to me when I stopped my people pleasing. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that, y'all. Let's see. How many was that, y'all? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. Now, and then in week 5, we're going to talk about, y'all, listen, my mind is about a million places, and y'all know how I do. Sometimes I have my moments over here. So just ride with me. For those of you that are new and don't know how I get down over here. Then we're going to talk about the power of rest and recovery. Rest and recovery is a humongous piece of your healing journey. Why, you may ask? Because, listen, we do not have to be healing 24/7. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to put down your journals, your affirmations, your healing books, your yoga, your meditation, your therapy. It is perfectly fine to put those things away and give yourself a rest. You can't heal 24/7. You got to have life. You got to live life. You've got to take the time to put those new tools into practice. Rest and recovery. I can't wait to get into that topic with you guys because it will be transformative. It'll be mind-blowing, and it'll be things that you probably never even thought about, because I know I did it when I was first beginning and like in the middle and in the deep depths of my healing journey. I didn't think about rest and recovery. It's invaluable. And then the final week, week 6, it will be a conclusion. And it will also be a Q&A. So I encourage you guys throughout this series, when you listen, if you have a question that you would like to have answered, please submit them to me. Please submit them at the Melanin Wellness Podcast at gmail.com. I will put all of this in the description box below. I'm going to put all the topics down there in case you have a question before the series, or, at any point you got a question. You can submit your questions there. I'll also put the email address there. So we're going to, and then at the end, we're going to just wrap it up with some key takeaways. And then we will move on onto our regularly scheduled programming. I really hope that you guys tune in to this series and share this series with anyone that you think might need to hear this series, because this series is going to be so, so powerful. I do have a community on Patreon, so that is where I hang out a lot. And I put questions of the day up. Some are healing related, some are other things related. They're just fun, and we talk about these things. We are going to be having a virtual book club with Note to Self, but that's not going to be until next year. And when that happens, I will make sure to remind you guys about that. Anybody who purchases the book during the pre-sale period, which is September 16th to September 30th, will automatically get their VIP pass to that virtual book club. And that virtual book club will be live with me each week. And we will go over some chapters. You will get to ask your questions. And so it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a good time, y'all. But that's it, y'all. I am so happy to be back. I am looking forward to talking with you guys, to reconnection. I'm looking forward to this healing journey, y'all. I'm so excited. But welcome back, and I will see you guys next week in our Note to Self Pathway to Healing series. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next week. Stay well.